Welcome friends, Rodge here, aka the Wisco Horn Dog, back again for another Saga Thursday. Today is part 2 of the Anglo-Saxon Battle Board review. So, I don't have much to say about this. We took a look at some stuff last time. You can go to last week's video. I'm trying to keep these short and sweet, but we're just filled with so much Saga knowledge that we got to get it out there. So, I'm not going to say anything else. Let's just get to it.
So moving down, why don't you read out the no surrender here?
No surrender. It's an activation ability. It requires 2 dice, both of them rares. So this is the superpower. This is always, if you got a double rare, it's always a superpower. And it lives up to it. Discard these dice, activate all of your units made up of at least 10 models, and remove 1 fatigue from each of these units. These activations do not generate any fatigue. The only tricky bit is a lot of times, it's really nice to be able to pop a superpower kind of mid to late game and like make that final push that ends up winning or like kind of pulling you through. In this case, again, because as we talk about, like you might be losing dudes from units to where you might not have that many units with 10 models. As the game goes on, this superpower gets a lot less effective. But if you have still a couple units that have 10 or more models, or can be boosted up by stout hearts, multi-activation, removing of fatigue, and not generating additional fatigue is awesome. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty awesome. This one, in practice, is tough to get off when you really are hoping for it, because you need the timing to be right. You got to have your units still kind of flush. Usually what happens is you roll 1 rare, and you can either choose between feared to get more Saga dice, or you just can't get it anyways. Right. So you end up using your 1 rare to roll for more Saga dice, or so it's tough to get off. There's a couple of things you can do with it. Kind of early game, what you can do is you can actually use it for like a cruise missile type unit, where you can move up a unit with their first activation, move twice, take a fatigue, pop no surrender. So they're going to lose that fatigue, and they're going to activate for free with no fatigue, so they go in fresh. So unit infantry, you can sling them up to 18 inches. And presumably, you're probably using all your dice to accomplish this. Yeah. So you're just using the rest of your board to pump up that 1 unit. So you can sling them in there and do as much damage. If it's a feared unit, your little peons, you're fine with whatever the hell happens to them after it. But you can deliver a good hit, especially in the first or second turn when, if you're like 15 inches apart, leaving dice back to defend yourself isn't a priority.
Right.
So you can really, hammer it home, get them undefended, and just get a bunch of attack dice and really get them out there. It's nice. I just
never probably get it off that much.
Yeah, the time when you get it, your units aren't over 10. Or you just have something else going on, but it is that's definitely super awesome, and this kind of like makes me want to take the Hermit Priest, the one you can just change it to whatever. You're probably gonna get one rare, and then boom, that the turns you want it, you'll get it. It's fucking worth it.
Which, I mean, again, as you're thinking about how efficient your dice are being. No surrender in terms of the amount of dice used is arguably one of the more efficient uses of your dice, because it's activating potentially all of your units besides your warlord and your priest. And so having that enlightened dude be able to pop that, it's expensive with 2 rares, but man, that's a lot of stuff happening for 2 dice.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting so even like the cruise missile thing, you get that unit out there, but everybody still removes the fatigue, and everybody can still move. It's not like sometimes when you do that, you're using all your dice and nobody else is doing anything. Like, you're still doing stuff. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It's nice when you can do that cruise missile thing.
Yeah.
You feel like a goddamn tactical genius. Okay, moving down to Clash of Shields. So this is a melee ability using 2 commons, and you're going to gain a number of attack dice equal to 1/3 of the number of models composing the unit. So if you have a 12-pack, that's 4 extra dice, and down to, I think, 7 guys or more. I think it's still 3 dice because you always round up.
Yep.
So 3 to 4 attack dice for 2 dice though.
Although theoretically, couldn't you boost up even more with stout hearts so that you'd be
Yes. So that's one thing you can do is when you want to get more attacks, and you got the dice, is you can go to 14
or even
which
60.
gives you 5 dice, and 16 will give you 6 extra attack dice, which is nice. Yeah, that is kind of one of the few times I use Star Hearts, is just to get more attack dice on that one big crucial combat. Really isn't any other options besides Defenders of the Realm and just the combat pool, really. But yeah, a lot of the other stuff is you need horses and helmets.
Yep.
So the axes are usually, usually you end up using them for moves and stuff like that with the muster, but you're always going to have the axes, and it's not bad when you're fresh. When you're turn 4 and 5, when you have like 5 dudes, and you're like, well, this is all I got here.
Yep.
Gonna get the extra 2 dice. It kind of blows. At that point, you must be looking at the combat pool, but
right.
Yeah, it is what it is. Some boards don't even have this kind of thing,
sure.
So take what we can get, dude.
Next ability.
Okay. Yeah.
Overlap shields. It's a shooting reaction. It's either a common or an uncommon. Discard this die, gain a number of defense dice equal to 1/3 of the number of models composing the unit. So similar to Clash of Shields, where it's dependent upon how many guys you have in the unit. Now this one is only for shooting as a reaction as opposed to
yes.
However, I mean, and you think about dice efficiency in a big unit of 10, 11, or 12 dudes, having 1 axe be able to pop 4 defense dice, that's awesome when you consider.
Yeah.
I mean, shooting isn't necessarily usually that powerful, and because you save on 4s, and people aren't usually like throwing 16 or even 8+ shooting dice at once is pretty ridiculous. But like being able to pop, make sure that you have twice as many, because you're almost always going to have twice as many defense dice as you have hits. Which means on a 4+, you're statistically canceling the entire.
Yeah, statistically, you're invulnerable.
So for that 1 round of shooting, at least. So what works once, but for one axe, and again, as you said, like axes aren't necessarily that used on this board. I think about a lot of different armies that pump up 1 thing of shooting and make that work. This is great.
Yeah, I agree. This one, if you're going against a guy who's got the 1 shooting unit, it's fucking nice. You're basically training a common dice to pretty much nullify a complete shooting attack. Yep. Depending what they roll, they may or may not be able to get more than 1, or a lot of times people just allocate 1 or 2 dice to that anyways, because once they take the fatigue, then on the second shot, it's going to be at a -1 from then on out. So yeah, this one's awesome. It makes you nice and immune to the old shooties pretty well there. So love that ability. And finally, Saxon Kingdom. This is an orders or orders reaction, so you could use during the opponent's turn. And it's a uncommon and a rare. Discard these dice until the end of the turn. All your levy units are considered to be warriors, and these effects cease as soon as the unit is reduced below 10 models. So it's a 10 model count again, man. Coming back. So this one is pretty good. The issue, you're looking at it, there's a couple things going on here. So warriors, or you can get 1 extra fatigue over the levies before you're exhausted.
Yep.
You can soak up wounds with your warlord,
Yep.
which the levies won't jump in, so that's good. The issue with the levies is they already get hit like warriors,
Yep.
so you're not getting any extra defense.
Yep.
But you're doubling your attack power out the gate. So you're going from 6 to 12, which is pretty good. And when they count as warriors, then for your dice cap, you're using the warriors cap. So you can go from 6 to 12 and then use Clash of Shields. And actually, you can get to 18. And then Defenders of the Realm, you can get to 20. Potentially on a unit of levy, because this turn they're warriors, so they can go from 1 attacks to 2 each.
Sure.
So this one, yeah, it's pretty good. This is an early game one when you're kind of getting your levies out there. So as far as general strategy and stuff and list building is, at least 1 levy unit is, you're going to play to the strengths of the list. I take two big 12-man units, and you get them out there, and basically you're just trying to trade bodies. And if you go like 1 for 1, you're probably going to win out.
Yep.
Because you're losing a levy, they're losing a warrior or a Hearthguard. And with the Saxon Kingdom, Clash of Shields, everything else, your levy unit can get pretty good. It's like a beefed up unit of warriors essentially.
Yep.
When you can get them out there. And if you have 2 levy units, you're using a lot of your dice for that. But if you can do that twice, and they've just taken down your levies, but they lost half their warband, and then the rest of your guys go in, that's a pretty good trade. That's pretty much the main strategy that I use for playing.
One of the things that I'd be tempted by with the Saxon Kingdom, especially if I knew that I kind of wanted to rely on it more, it does make you a little reliant on it, but what you could do is you could always take your levy not as the shield and spear guys, but as the actual,
exactly.
Give yourself a little shooting option and giving them like javelins or the slings. And then if you need them to fight, then you go, well, Saxon Kingdom, it would have the same effect either way. And now I'm actually getting more bang for my buck, and I have the flexibility of being able to shoot. So that's almost what I'd be tempted to do.
Yeah, because you can lure. There's a couple of ways
Yep.
you can lure people in. So they come in with a medium, and they think they're going to roll up on these levy shooters with their 3+ armor and 4 attacks on a 12-man unit. So you go to Saxon Kingdom, you go from 4 attacks to 12.
Yep.
You could use Clash of Shields, and then, well, your armor's boosted then. Yeah, I should get some bow guys, or whatever the hell. Slingers.
I think it's slings or javelins is what you're allowed to have.
Slings or jabs.
Let me double check.
Yeah, that might. That's a good idea. I have thought about that, but I don't want to put together any more War Games Factory dudes.
Yeah, just go for
so I might
else.
have to branch out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, so the other thing you can do too is, since it's orders reaction, is you can put your warlord hanging out next to him.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, look at this chump. Thinks he's going to save the wounds with his levy. And just at the start of the turn, you just pop that shit, and you're good to go.
I will say as
don't
well.
Rely on that.
Yeah, no, not at all. I will say as well, you were right on bows. You can have slings or bows, so they don't actually get javelins. So I just looked that up, so I don't want to be wrong. So slings or bows are what you got. Bows could be really cool, actually. Nice range.
Okay.
Turn them into warriors. Great.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I might do, if I'm probably doing a list, 6 points or something, I might do unit of the foot slogger, the warrior levies, the shooter levies, and then really I've just been putting the rest of the points into warriors.
Yeah, I don't know if I even use Hearthguard at all.
No, and yeah, so the way the battles work out a lot is they're bloody. They're bloody. They always seem close. I can win with them, but it always seems like, fuck, that was close. Yep. Because you really, you need those big units to shine. So, I mean, almost, you send a unit into combat, it's almost probably going to drop below 10 unless you have everything stacked up.
Yep.
So it's kind of like you're almost like losing one of your 10-man units a turn, and you're trying to, keep a unit in reserve. So when you need it, you can go in, drop the hammer. It's tough. Yeah, and you start paying the tax for the stout heart. You can't use the feared anymore once you get knocked down. All your abilities are getting worse. Yeah, really, I think it kind of, those first few combats can kind of really be the decider almost in some ways.
I can see this list. I can see the Saxons doing pretty well against other close combat lists, and I could see them really struggling against some shooting lists, either horse, like javelin type stuff, who can run up javelin, kind of run back, or like steppe tribes. Because the overlap shields, you're gonna get that once. You get that one for one shooting.
Yeah.
All they got to do is pick off. And a lot of these guys, they're warriors and they're levy, right? So a lot of these guys are getting picked off pretty easily. And all they got to do is pick off 2 to 3 in a unit, run away, and then your unit. That's one unit that's not giving you the 10-figure bonus. So. That's tricky.
So playing against them is kind of interesting. Where for the modus operandi is always eliminate a whole unit at one time if you can. But against the Saxons, you're actually, if you're just knocking down those units, you get them down to 4 or 5 guys. You've almost effectively eliminated them from the battle in some situations because there's nothing I can really do with them to boost those up. They just hang around until those last desperate battles in the end where you're throwing in every guy. So, it's tough. Yeah, they are vulnerable to the shooting and just that. You have a boatload of warriors, but they just with that armor, they just don't seem to last long. Or they can really be buzzsawed through. As soon as you drop a fatigue, they could be hitting them on 3s versus 4s with the Hearth Guard. So, I just got a lot of bodies, a lot of models to paint, but they just don't seem to last long. But I don't think it's. I think what you said about going against combat armies and stuff, I think they do pretty good. They're not sophisticated. They don't manipulate your dice or control your movements really. No. Or do anything special themselves. They can't really reach out too much unless you get the strike missile with no surrender. So, I'd say probably like a middling board as far as strength goes.
Yeah. I'd be tempted with this. So you talked about 2 units of levy and then the rest with warriors. And I'm sure in your head you're probably thinking 3 points of warriors and then a priest to have alongside your warlord.
Yes,
I would be
that's one way to do it.
I would be a little tempted actually to make your warlord into a priest. Either. Well, I think you can go either religious or you can go the hermit enlightened. Either one, like the religious one is going to give you just more dice and the ability to knock off a little fatigue. The enlightened one is going to give you the ability to change dice into rares. Which can be really useful. When I'm thinking about this, the Bert Walda ability, where you're gaining armor and you're re-rolling your defense dice, it's really nice on a very offensive warlord who can go in and just tank damage. But that could also be useful as kind of like a panic button with a priest of like, oh man, I need to get him a little forward, but I need to protect him a little bit, and that gives you another point of warriors. Or levy, either one, to where
it's more bodies.
You just have
more bodies.
That becomes something where if you got 32 warriors and 24 levy, man, that is a lot of dudes to chew through.
Okay, that's a really really good point. I was gonna say this is probably one of the few lists where taking the priest isn't necessarily a no-brainer because just having those bodies is really nice, but having that. Yeah, I hadn't considered the warlord as the priest, which is kind of fluffy, dude. It's pretty fluffy. I don't know. You ask me. But yeah, that's a big difference between because because what I have been playing is 2 units of levy, 12, 3 units of warriors split into 2 units of 12.
Yep.
So, you know,
generating. Wow, then man, you're only generating.
Well,
so
and the
dice.
priest included. So yeah, it's 5 or 6. But yeah, that is a huge difference between 2 units of levy and then 3 units of 10, and then 2 can be 11 or 1 can be 12 or something like that. Then because you essentially have like an extra, pretty much a whole extra unit, and when it's flush with those bodies, baby, you can make it nice and juicy, nice and
At that point, I'd probably go enlightened, because even if you've got, I guess religious will allow you to roll 7 dice, and you're hoping for a rare dice, because you'd have the 3 warrior units, the warlord priest would give you 2, and then the religious could give you an additional 2 to roll. Whereas that enlightened, if you have the 3 units of warriors plus the enlightened, that's 5 dice. If he just turns one of the dice into a rare, if you need it, you have 5 units with 10, and so you'll be able to automatically max out your dice.
Max out on the 8.
Even after, like, and one of the beautiful things about having some of these in the orders phase is like Truce or Saxon Kingdom, you can play those orders before you play the Fjord. So especially in that scenario where you've already rolled 5 dice, and you can roll 5 more through Fjord, so you actually are losing a little bit of efficiency. You can play some of those Stout Hearts, Saxon Kingdom, or Truce first, get those dice back into your pool, roll them again with the Fjord, because you got 5 dice that you're rolling there. Then you're really cooking. Yeah,
you are. So you're starting with like 5 or 6.
Start with 5 in that scenario.
There. So you can burn 2 on whatever, and then pop that, and you're back up to 7 or 8. So yeah, that's juicy. Now, yeah, you're cooking. You cooking, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh, nice. So, okay, yeah, you good? We played the campaign and we're kind of done, and I thought I was a little played out with these guys, but yeah, I got some good ideas here. I think I am going to probably run the Anglo-Saxons for the Saga Storm if I can make it over there.
You should. It's great.
It'll be some baby time, but I think I can. That little baby should have been around a couple months, so should be able to make it over there. And so I've had a tournament with the Anglo-Danes, and I can play with the Anglo-Saxons. Maybe get some shooters in here. Yeah, I'm liking this. The juices are flowing, man.
Yeah.
Well, boom. Once again, thank you to the People's Viking. Good knowledge here.
Yeah, you're welcome, bud.
We'll do it again. Spreading the word.
Let's do it.
Not too many people spreading the Saga gospel. We're here. We're doing it.
Desperate, faithful few.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, buddy. Check you later. Saga.
Well, that wraps up our Anglo-Saxon Battle Board review. Big thanks to Mikey G once again. That dude is awesome. He is super knowledgeable, and he will be coming back at least one more time, maybe a few more times, talking about some Yams Vikings. So we have that to look forward to, friends. Like and favorite this shit. If you got a friend on the fence about Saga, I don't know if sending this video will help, but it could. So maybe just send it over. Hit them up with one of those vids. And subscribe to this shit yourself so you don't miss the next Saga Thursday. Become a hobby horn dog today, my friends. Saga!